This is the Four-Man Rush. Hello, Panther fans, and welcome to another podcast of the Four-Man Rush. I'm your host, Timmy V.O., here with Will, Larry, and Kev, back in this MFer, episode 61. And we're happy to be back. By God, we're happy to be back. We're all healthy and free of the COVID at the moment. And we're here to talk about some Panther football. Oh, man. It feels good to be back on this bad boy, I tell you. Just got off the IG Live for everybody who came on board and hung out with us and chit-chatted with us. Thank you very much. And don't forget to check out Kevin on the old Facebook Live shortly after we're done here. Maybe about around 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah. So, real quick, thank you guys so much for all the support that you've given the Four members so far. Of course, we had to step away for a little while and let things, get together and, let the team do its thing and let things run their course. And now we're back with some powerful news about them Carolina Panthers. So, let's hop into things, shall we? First up, we're going to talk about the league COVID plan. And then, of course, we'll tackle some Panther transactions and the training camp updates and, oh, man, press conferences, all kind of stuff. So, hold to your hats, Panther fans. The Four-Man Rush is back on the scene. Let me calm down. I'm about to curse a little too much here. Okay, here we go. All right, so we'll start off with you, Larry, and we'll hop over to Will and hop over to Kev. Okay? Cool. Good, fellas?
Yeah, it works for me.
All right. So, up first, we'll talk about the league COVID plans. Have you heard anything about that, Larry? What's going on with that?
I noticed that, like in the practices, they've got some rules where they're wearing these alerts that let you know that you're within 6 feet of another player or another staff member. So it's like an alarm that goes off and keeps you to stay away from other guys.
Wow.
From a football perspective, I'm just like a little bit concerned because I love the trenches. That's all about contact, and offensive linemen, they have to be able to gel together, be able to take the same steps and things like that. So I wish I could actually, look into practice and see how they're doing with that. But I know they also have those masks out that some players are opting to use. I heard it does restrict your breathing a little bit, so it takes some getting used to. So, I've been looking at some interviews and seeing like some players are opting to use it, some players are choosing not to. Overall, I haven't actually looked at the program itself to see exactly what the rules are. I know that some of the rookies have an option to stay in the hotel together. Some are choosing to go home every night. So, and I think Will might know more about the details of, what the protocol is. But just looking at the basic things regarding football itself, it just seems like it's a bit tough, to try to gear yourself towards playing 60 minutes of football,
Right. Yeah, I hear you. Will, what type of updates have you heard about the COVID situation and the practice squads and all that good stuff?
Yeah, to add on to what Larry said, the NFL Players Association and the league finally signed their agreement, which amended the existing CBA to adjust for the current COVID situation. The deadline for players to opt out is now Thursday at 4 p.m. At that point, no players can opt out unless they have like a medical emergency or something that gets approved by the league to opt out after that date. I think the league wants to do that because they fear that players who may not make the team, later on in training camp will use the opt-out as an excuse to get that $150,000, $350,000 stipend. So they want to cut that off and just kind of make players make their decisions by Thursday. So I think what you'll see over the next couple of days, expect more big names maybe to appear to opt out of the season. I know I just saw a report on Twitter that a lot of big names are still considering that. So we'll keep an eye out to see what happens over the next couple of days. As far as the Panthers go, only 2 players have opted out. The undrafted free agent linebacker Jordan Mack out of Virginia. Since he didn't play and was not on a roster in 2019, he's not eligible for the stipend, so he just won't get paid this year. So it's going to be tough on him. Mm-hmm. And then Christian Miller, and he had a family member, I believe, that had a serious case of coronavirus. So he was considered a high-risk opt-out, so he gets a $350,000 stipend to sit out this season. So what happens with him is his current salary this year will roll over into next year. He'll still be obligated. He'll still be under contract with the Carolina Panthers for 3 years, so he won't lose a year of his rookie contract because of his opt-out. Some other things that brought to my attention, I'll let Kev clear up the loose ends on things I might have missed. I really like what they've done with the practice squad. They're expanding it to 16 players, so it's going to give a lot of undrafted free agent players an opportunity to make the team that wouldn't have otherwise done it.
Yep.
They're allowing 6 veteran players with no limitations on accrued seasons. The way it used to be is if you played a certain number of seasons, you couldn't no longer play on the practice squad. That's removed for 6 players now. So veteran players that have used up all of their seasons and not been able to sit on the practice squad can now have an opportunity to come back in and play football. So that's going to make a lot of guys on our roster beneficial. A guy I really like who's been a mainstay on our practice squad is Quinn Blanding, for example. So I think, if he's able to crack that 16-man practice squad, I think we're down to 80 players. So if he can crack that top, 69 players and get on that practice squad, that'll be a great opportunity for guys like him. And 2 players, every Tuesday you can designate 2 players protected so other teams can't sign them off your practice squad. And I think that's major too, because if you recall, a couple of years ago we lost our draft pick, kicker Harrison Butker, because we put him on the practice squad. The Chiefs signed him. So those are the things I'm looking forward to, is the opportunity that these players, these bubble guys that wouldn't have otherwise made a roster this year, they're going to finally get their opportunity to go out there, play, and shine. They do have severe punishment for players that break the rules. I think you can have a $50,000 fine for refusing a COVID test. They have a lot of activities that are labeled as high-risk activities where it can also result in fines and suspensions. So that's like going to bars, going to clubs, having house parties of 25 people or more. All these types of actions can result in fines and suspensions. And I think that stems from what's going on in baseball. We saw the Florida Marlins had a road game in Atlanta, stayed overnight in a hotel, went out to strip clubs, went out to the bars at the hotel. 20 players and staff ended up getting COVID on the Marlins team.
I swear.
So they had a week or 2 of games got canceled because of that. And then you had the St. Louis Cardinals, a couple players and staff said, let's go to the casino. What can go wrong? 13 of their players tested positive. So now they have some postponements and cancellations. The NFL, you don't have that flexibility baseball has, right? Because baseball's got so many weeks where you can reschedule games, do double, triple headers, things like that. NFL, what are you going to use a bye week to fill in missed games? So they got to be real strict with player conduct and making sure you're looking out for your teammates, and whatever you go out, mess with a girl or something, you bring back to them, you're bringing back to the entire locker room. And players just got to really understand that. So, it's an uphill battle. Can players be responsible for these next 3 to 4 months and get this season in? So we'll see what happens as far as that goes. But, I'll say I'm more optimistic that a season will happen today than I was a month ago. We just have to see how they pull it off. I think the one thing I do want to see is players quarantine in their home cities. And I know they've touched on it, but bubble them, like reserve a hotel and just have players stay isolated in a hotel space for the duration of the season in their hometowns. And the only time they'll leave is for road games. I think that would be another way that they could potentially limit the spread of the virus. But we'll see what happens, man. I'm keeping my fingers crossed and hoping we can pull it off and get some football this year.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Football, please, yes. Kevin Avery, what you think, man?
Yeah, well, I'm looking for this bone because between Larry and Will, they done pretty much took all the meat off it about these CBA. So I'm in here looking for scraps at the moment to try to throw out there without regurgitating what was just said. But essentially, there's there's going to be a chance for increased salary cap for each team because one of the provisions that was added on to the CBA, and I'm reading a quote from Tom Pelissero, and it says, in quote, the Management Council informed NFL clubs that signing bonus proration will be removed from the 2020 salary cap immediately upon a notification of a player opting out. So what that means is that, for example, whatever signing bonus that Christian Miller was going to get for this year because he opted out, that amount will now be added to the salary cap. Now, by him being I think it was a fourth-round pick, probably just talking about maybe a few $100,000, nothing significant, but let's just say let's just say a player like, let's just say, for example, Shaq Thompson, if he opted out, then, whatever his signing bonus is, say like $8 million, if he was to opt out, then his signing bonus that he had for the 2020 season would be added to the salary cap if he would be opted out. So it just gives certain teams, depending on which players have a chance to add to their salary cap. So just something to be on the lookout for because fans are always talking about sign this guy, sign that guy. You got to have money to sign these players, folks. So so just something for the salary cap nerds like myself that pay attention to such things as this. Now, another thing to be on the lookout for, by the time this podcast drops, it's going to be Wednesday. So the next day on Thursday at 4 p.m., there's only two ways that an NFL player can opt out after the deadline. Number one, he has a new diagnosis and he's considered high risk for COVID. Or number two, a family member dies or is hospitalized with COVID or COVID-related condition. Under those terms, a player can opt out for the 2020 season after the 4 p.m. deadline this coming Thursday, which I could say tomorrow because by the time y'all hear this, it'll be Thursday. It'll be Wednesday and tomorrow will be Thursday. So, that's just pretty much it as far as anything of significance that would, be something to be on the lookout that fans should, have a listening ear for. But, with everything else, like the fellas hit on, I'm excited about, guys on the practice squad having a chance to play, guys having the opportunity, to, get a chance that wouldn't normally get reps up under the former regime. So I'm just looking forward to that.
Yeah, I like that aspect of it. I like that aspect of it. I like to get guys out there who wouldn't necessarily have an opportunity in a normal situation. So, stay tuned, folks. Stay tuned and stay aware of that COVID situation. It's going to be a while. But hey, hopefully we'll have a season. So, all right. So up next, Panthers transactions. Not too much has been going on, but there has been some transactions. Who wants to take on that real quick?
Yeah, Kevin's got it pulled up on the screen.
Kevin.
Okay. I got the Panthers transactions recently, and I'm just gonna start from the most recent and then go backwards. So on today, August the 4th, the Panthers acquired running back Trenton Cannon. This is a player that Will, you can get a chance to speak on that, because you posted a very nice highlight clip of him on the 4-Man Rush Facebook page and the Twitter account. Make sure you guys check us out there.
Check it out.
And of course, the big news the day before was Christian Miller opting out. That was another transaction. Now, on this past Saturday, August the 1st, we got our roster down to 80. So we had to waive 5 players that Saturday. Wide receiver Damian Jean-Pierre, which many believe may have been the fastest player on the team, especially at wide receiver position. Guard Tyler Mars, center Frederick Magua, and another popular player that a lot of Panther fans were looking to get a chance to see was running back Rodney Smith. They were all waived. here. So, and then we had another player, undrafted linebacker named Jason Ferris. He was waived due to injury designation. So that's what got our roster down to 80. And of course, right now it's at 79 because Christian Miller had opted out. Mm-hmm. So that's what that's what's got that at that situation right now, as far as like recent transactions with the team.
Special teams is looking a little bit funny too, don't you think?
Well, it's kind of a sore spot for me because I was a fan of his, but actually two players are actually out as well. No longer on the team for the season. As I know, Graham Gano was released after 8 seasons in Carolina.
Bye, Graham.
I don't see I guess because I'm kind of biased as a fan of his. I mean, yeah, I get it saves a little bit of money, but we just keep adding more and more dead cap on for the next couple of years with his release. I guess Joey Sly is going to be the guy. And also, we lost punter Matt Pollardi for the year due to, I think he tear his knee or something like that. I think he has some sort of so he's going to be out as well for the season. So we're talking about our long-term kicker and punter will no longer be around. So guess what? New guys got to step up. Oh, and another old face came back to the Panthers during transitions. He's coming back as Adarius Taylor, but many of us who follow him remember him as Adarius Glanton, played linebacker, someone that played fast and physical. Definitely, even before the four-man rush was formed, a lot of us had him as a guy that we really just liked how he played and how he just brought it on the field when he was given a chance. So that was something else. Another transaction went down. And finally, for all you Gamecock fans, the punter that was brought along to replace Pollardi came out of the University of South Carolina, Joseph Charlton. So I know Coronado, who's a South Carolina alumni, part of the four-man rush. I know he was thrilled about that. So these are just some of the transactions that has taken place over the last couple of weeks leading up to the opening of training camp.
Right on, man. Right on. And there you have it, folks.
I'm just taking time to really let it breathe. So baby, just chill. Yeah. She love it. We out in public and we can just chill with my partners, and we can go back to my crib and just chill under covers and do we call me and you lovers.
The Foreman Rush is brought to you by the love and respect of and for the Carolina Panthers and Carolina Panther fans everywhere. Keep pounding. The Four-Man Rush is a non-affiliate of the Carolina Panther organization. All thoughts, assessments, and content of this podcast is directly related to the Four-Man Rush exclusively. Thank you.